Hello and welcome to PJ's Bayou Grind, brought to you by PJ's Coffee out in Pueblo West. I'm Ben Kaysen here with Joe and Renee Prutch. Joe and Renee, how are y'all doing?
Doing great. How are you, Ben?
Amazing.
Good, Ben. Have you had your PJ's coffee today?
I've never had a King's Cake before, but I had one last week, so you guys gave us some for work.
Right.
Wait, that was the beginning of this week. Wow, time's flying. But you guys brought it to us, and we were eating it. I had no idea that there were, like, a baby in the cake. My friend Jacob, he got that. And I was like, what?
You found the baby?
No, my friend Jacob did.
Baby. Oh, well, he's got 1 year. Good luck.
Yeah, he does. And we were looking up what you do with it. And sorry, this is off topic, but we were looking up what you do with it. It was interesting. You looked up what you do with it. You had to call him king for the day. That's what they do in New Orleans.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So he was like, call me king for the day. I was like, all right.
How fun.
And we've got two other very special guests here. We've got Gilbert Padilla and Vita Bigley. How are y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Amazing.
Good, how are you doing?
Great. So both of you guys, part of PJ's from very early on. You were part of kind of like the PJ's, Baskin-Robbins, Prutch's Garage family. You guys have taken a lot of different roles between all the different businesses. So can you guys talk to me about what was your PJ's coffee experience like?
So, Renee told me, she's like, we're going to open a coffee shop. So I was like, okay, sounds good. And so then Renee and I kind of like put together like our interview, how we did like the screenings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we would get like online applicants and we'd send them like an actual paper one because it asked more questions. So it was more like direct and involved. And then we would go through like all the applications and then we'd schedule the interviews so that we had like weeks of where we would just do interviews at a time. And then we couldn't open because construction.
Oh,
and so they kept like pushing back. And so we hired all these people and they're like, yeah, you guys are going to start. I trained them all and we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, we got to wait a little bit. And so then we waited a couple months.
Wow.
We waited a couple months and then we were able to open in September. Was like our soft opening.
Yeah.
And corporate came in and they trained us and stuff. And corporate actually came and trained us. And Joe and Renee had to go, like on the last 2 days, I think it was. They had to go to Las Vegas for a Baskin-Robbins convention where they actually got an award and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so I was like there with corporate and I was kind of scared.
Oh, with them not there.
Yeah, with Joe and Renee not there. And so that was kind of different for me because I had never really, I was like, I don't know, let me call Renee. Like she's trying to ask me questions and tell me that I needed to have like more of a role. And Renee and I were like, no, we already have our system down. Like we're good. And and corporate kind of expected me to like just manage PJs, be there literally every hour that I breathe. And
They thought you were the point person.
and Renee was like, no, we already have our system down. Yeah. And so that was kind of a little bit different for us. And then Gil's grandpa actually passed away about that same week that we were supposed to open and corporate was coming. So it was just like a very interesting and difficult kind of it was a lot going on because like we said, we're all families, so it affected Timmy and Crystal and Joe and Renee and Gil and I and his mom. So we were all kind of like, oh, this isn't the way we wanted to open it, but we still did, and it was good, like for opening wise and the way that it came about. So
Yeah. What was it like getting all those pieces in place and getting ready to go at that point?
So Renee would print out like a list for me and she'd say, okay, we need to order all this stuff. So we would order it and then Gil and I would do like inventory of it and then we'd wash all of it and put it on like the shelves and put the things where they're supposed to go in the store. And then she would have like a plan for us for the next time we went, like, oh, we need to clean this. We need to assemble this. So every time that we basically had like a guide, like Renee would give us a guide of like, okay, let's work on this today. And then it all just kind of came together, really.
That's good.
Yeah, and I got to see, kind of start to finish from construction. So they put up the building, and Tim and I, their son, we put up the signage and everything in the store, and got to see, what it was like just building by itself.
Cool.
And we kind of got to see it, from start to finish, and then turn into a beautiful, just home warming atmosphere. And I got to see, that come along, the process of it, and it was really cool to see. See it turn into just a space into what it is now, and it's beautiful the way it sits, and kind of that home warming feel when you go in there, and coffee smell kind of you know, that you get when you get in there. It's a cool place.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked before in some of our previous podcasts with Joe and Renee about kind of like the start of Baskins and how that was like, and it was just like all of a sudden like, hey, we're starting this out. What was it like on your side then with PJ's, like when Renee comes to you like, yeah, we're opening up a coffee shop? What was that like for you guys?
Well, we were like, well, we don't know anything about coffee, but we're willing to learn. So we were like, okay. And then she had us taste some, and it was like the best thing ever. And so like now we don't go anywhere else. We buy PJs and grind it at the house, and because other places is not the same. So and so we learned, and Crystal and Renee got to go right to to learn and like the little like where they do the manager and owner like.
Yeah, in New Orleans.
The trainings, And then she like explained it to me, and I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then they have like a training guide, and so I read that, and I'd go on the website and look at all the products and stuff like that. And then it was kind of hard because at first like we wanted to like start training our employees, and so we're trying to train them, but like I didn't really know, like I'd never made one, I've never tasted one, so I'd have to like kind of like read like what I thought it was going to be like, and like kind of just more learning for me, because I was like, I don't know what the heck froth is. Like I didn't know what the words were. So I just had to learn. But it was nice. So.
No, I thought it was awesome when they came to us and they said, hey, we're going to open up I've never heard of it though, but once when they said that, we did more research on it, and it was like, wow, this was a really cool company that they started in New Orleans. And so being a part of it, it's just, the journey we've been able to take with it's been pretty cool. I go to orthodontist appointments and stuff, and a lady there was like, oh, she saw my hat. It was a PJ's Coffee hat.
Oh yeah.
And she goes, oh, you like PJ's Coffee? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, doctor, you got to go to PJ's Coffee because it's like no other coffee. If you are doing chores around the house or anything, you drink a PJ's Coffee, and you're gonna be doing chores forever. You're good to go for the rest of the day. And I didn't realize that until I had it. And I was like, wow, this coffee is good. Yeah, and it is. It does get you throughout the day. And so it's just
The other day I had to study, and it was like 2:00 in the afternoon, and I was like, I just need some coffee. So I made some, and I didn't go to bed till like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, woo. Gil's like, it's time to go to bed, and I still laid there, and I was like, I can't sleep. And when we first started, Joe and Renee, Renee was like, all right, make me a vanilla latte. So I'd make it, and then we should be bouncing off the walls because we'd make it with caffeine. And then we were like, we have to drink decaf. Like our hearts are going to pound out of our chest. Right. So we'd make decaf, and then even then we were like, okay. So it's just really strong, and it works. So
and it works. That's awesome.
Well, I think that goes back to the quality of the beans that we talked about in one of the podcasts with Felton Jones and the 100% Arabica beans. Yeah. So you see the difference in the quality, and that's where you get it in the coffee. So I have adapted. I am decaf only, and I can drink it, and I don't buy any businesses or do anything more. But Joe, I know that's what happens.
Well, Ben, we all know Renee. Everybody here is family, and we know Renee. And when Renee comes up with something, just like Veda said, we're going to open up a coffee shop. We're like, what? But that's Renee. I mean, we don't know nothing about coffee, and here we go. So we all jump on board. We support her. We support her in any way. But that's Renee.
That's awesome. Renee, can you kind of speak to for both of these guys, for Gil and for Veda, right? We were talking in the Baskin Robbins podcast, which you can find. It's called the 31 Flavor Journey. We just did a podcast with them on that site if you want to hear their part of the story. But long story short, we're talking a lot about them adopting different roles within your businesses and filling different niches for you and being able to, be reliable in different spots. Can you kind of speak to how valuable they've been for you starting PJ's?
Oh, yeah, they are. They're invaluable. That's what is simply amazing. Here we had two young, inexperienced in business come into my world, our world, and, every step of the way and everything I asked of them, they were like, yeah, what do I need to do? What do you want me to do next? How can I do this? Give me the tools. Give me the book. Give me whatever. And they never hesitated. And it was what would be great is because, again, outside of work, we were together as a family having dinner or whatever, and we would talk about it, we would discuss it. And, it's like the opportunities for all of us, and it makes us so proud to be able to give them that opportunity to learn it and to grow and to have that. And that's something they'll have for them for the rest of their lives. It builds their foundation for business, build their foundation for, like Gil even said, going into an empty shell building. We built it from the dirt, from the ground up, this 4-unit strip mall, and these units were empty. And then to put in the walls and the floors and the furniture and the decorations and the paint and, the cabinets and then, on the ice cream side, all the ice cream, and then on the coffee side, all the coffee. And it comes to life. Yeah. It comes to life. And it's like, it's a real store. And so to see that and to be a part of that journey, and then they're there. They were there from day one of Baskin Robbins opening. They were there from day one opening of PJ's Coffee. What experiences that they'll share and have forever. And it's in our hearts, and we love it so much. We're so proud of them.
Yeah. What was it like for you guys trying to, take the culture from Baskin Robbins that Joe and Renee have like kind of instilled and taking that into PJ's? What's that been like?
I thought it was really like a smooth transition. It helped too because we had some people that worked at Baskin Robbins that also wanted to work at PJ's.
Gotcha.
So I think there was like 2 crew members that like we had already like worked with and stuff like that. And so we got to like, they kind of fostered that environment too, because they already knew like, oh, we know Veda, like we know Joe and Renee. So they already kind of had an idea of like how things were ran and how things went. And so obviously they were our like shift leaders first. And that was good because then they like knew what our expectations were. So we were able to just kind of foster that environment. And it was a really, really smooth transition, I'd say. Corporate came in and they trained us and told us like, okay, this is how you make stuff. So after that, then you become your little expert on that, and then you're able to kind of help other people. So that's like it wasn't a difficult transition, I would say, at all.
Yeah, to go off Veda, I would agree. It was a smooth transition because we had people working from the Baskin Robbins side on the back, on PJ's side as well. Sure. So yeah, it was a smooth transition. Everybody knew expectations and knew kind of their roles and everything, and it was very, very smooth opening. I would say we worked very well as a team, and and it was very smooth.
Yeah, you guys mentioned the coffee. Can you kind of talk about what else about PJ sets it apart from other coffee shops?
I think kind of that persona of family in there. It's a pretty cool atmosphere. Veda's grandparents go in there. They were before COVID and everything happened. They were pretty much a weekly. Occasion that they'd go out there and go in there, and they would hear their stories, and they would share it with their friends and everything. So you walk in there and you see people that are sharing stories, and having just dates there and stuff. And so you get to learn about people, and the atmosphere there is very warming, I would say.
Yeah, we had like when I was working there, they had like a group of ladies that would come in and play the like Chinese checkers, and there's your regulars that you have. My grandparents would come in, and now I think my grandpa tries to bring his like church group and to come over because he's like, well, it tastes way better than like a McDonald's cup of coffee, and then they can actually like sit and enjoy their coffee there now because everywhere else is kind of closed. And so there's like your regulars, and you'll have people on first dates, and people come in to study all the time, and that's what I saw a lot of, was like a lot of studying. I know that I saw like a girl, she would always go there to study for her MCAT to take like to get in medical school, and she actually got in. So I was like, that's awesome. So just things like that. A lot of studying, very friendly, inviting, warm, and the coffee's like awesome. I love the coffee. So
with a coffee shop, and I think with PJ's, is we are building relationships with a community, and the relationships again, that when Gil and Veda see these people down the road, they're going to remember them. They're going to remember, hey, you were the barista at PJ's, and they can ask them, how did you do? Are you a doctor now? Where are you at? And it's great because we just actually had a meeting last night in PJ's, and we were talking about building the relationships and the stories that all the baristas have and everything. And they're so proud of, they know the people when they walk through the door, they have their drink ready on the counter. That's the cool point that they're getting to now. And, it's wonderful. They feel like a valued guest when they walk through that door. And that's what we want to create.
Yeah.
I also think that Taste of New Orleans is really, really cool atmosphere to go in there, and you feel like you are in in a coffee shop and a cafe in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You have the music playing. You also have like the specials, like the king cakes and everything like that actually really they bring you there, and you feel like you're on Bourbon Street or something, and a coffee outside. So yeah,
that's awesome. Joe and Renee, can you guys kind of speak to me about like why it's important to have that family atmosphere? Gil said, what makes it special is it has a family atmosphere when it comes to like the people in there as well as the employees. Can you guys speak to why that's important to you?
Oh, it's, because we want to stand out. We want to be different. We want to be known for that environment. We want guests to say, yeah, you know what? It's family. Like everybody knows your name. I don't know. I can't remember that show. Cheers. When they walk in and they'd have that beer ready at the counter. Well, we're going to have that coffee ready at the counter where everybody knows their name.
Yeah.
So, we do. We want that to stand out because it's easy to go down the street and get a cup of coffee somewhere else. It's easy to say, well, it's a little bit out of my way. I don't want to stop there. I'll just go ahead and stop over here.
Sure.
So we want to give them that reason. We want them to have that extra incentive. We know the coffee is good. We want the food is good. We want that environment to be good. We want them to feel so valued and that they're important, and they become our family. So we know their history. They know our history, and they just feel like one of us. So that's what we want to be known for in our coffee shop.
That's awesome. Sweet. Awesome. Hey, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to talk about while we're here?
I've got to share a story with you about Gil.
There you go.
Well, this is very impressive, though. Of course, our son from the podcast. So we're in the coffee shop, and we just opened, and being a barista, to make a good cup of coffee, you got to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Right? You really got to know what you're doing. So we're watching, and we're watching these baristas making coffee, and we're watching Gilly. Well, they open up the book, and to make sure that they're making the recipe right. Yeah. And it's tough. Me and you, I can't do it. But so we're watching this, and Gilly stand by. He read the book one time. Went through it one time, and he could make anything on there. So me and my son are watching this happening, and each one of the baristas is opening up the book to make sure that, and here's this guy running around making anything and everything. So it was impressive. It was just so impressive to watch him do that, and watching everybody else open up the book to make sure they're doing it right. He read it one time, and this was like
he's good to go.
This was like 2 weeks later, and he just knew every one of them made it. But it was cool to watch.
That is cool.
He's got like a photographic memory, and I wish I had that.
No, what they didn't know is I took it home before bed and I read it before sleep every night.
There you go.
Whatever works.
Before bed.
And we did that. We actually sent the book. We had to have him like check it out so that it wouldn't get taken or anything. But we checked him out, and we would study them, and then we actually put together like a test so that we could make sure that everyone was on the same page, because we didn't want me to make the drink and to have it taste different than when Gil makes a drink.
Sure.
So that you just get that consistency throughout. And I think it's a great learning lesson too for our baristas, because they were able to like say, oh, like, okay, I thought it was 2 scoops. Like, I guess it's only 1.5. Like, so it was good, like, for them to see, like, oh, this is where I was like kind of making a little bit of an error, but now it's a fixed, and we fixed it. So now you'll get consistency through no matter who you get.
I think it's cool to see like the managers putting in the grind like that, That's,
That's a good one there, Ben.
Awesome, guys. Well, where can we go find PJ's Coffee here in Pueblo?
On Hailey Lane.
Hailey
in Pueblo West.
That's right. Right over there by Baskin Robbins. Go check it out. The lobby's open, right?
We are open 50%.
Okay.
So yes, good. And then again we have the drive-through.
Good to hear. And how long is it open for?
we are open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Sunday.
Got it. Awesome. Go check out PJ's Coffee. Have some of their coffee. It's delicious. It's very energizing, like they were talking about. Go get a King's Cake, like I said at the beginning. That was really good. All the other things you guys have on the way, and you have in there. It's a great spot. So go check that out over there in Hailey Lane in Pueblo West. Thank you guys so much for coming in. It's awesome. Like I was saying in the last podcast for Baskin-Robbins, it's cool to see just the interpersonal relationships here between bosses and employees, which has now turned into family. It's cool to see for me on the outside. So I appreciate you guys. You guys are all awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. So go check out PJ's Coffee. Go get a part of that family experience. Come in there, make a relationship with them. They'll make a relationship with you and make it your coffee spot. Go check it out, PJ's Coffee out in Pueblo West. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been PJ's Bayou Grind. If you want to get more of Gil and Vita's story, including how they kind of got together there, if you want to go catch that, go check that over there, the Baskin-Robbins podcast. Look up the 31 Flavor Journey. You can find that podcast, as well as our previous podcast where you can get to know Joe and Renee more and their son Timmy and Crystal. You can know them more. Just go learn more about this great family and this great company between the two companies as they put things together. And obviously go check out their coffee and their ice cream. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.